What is up, my internet friends? I hope you guys are having a great day so far. I know I am, because I'm about to show you how to make a Flemish Twist Bowstring Jig. The Flemish Twist Bowstring Jig is used to make a high quality Flemish Twist bowstring. You don't have to have a jig to make a bowstring, but it makes it much easier to end up with a very high quality product in the end. There are two main types of bowstrings, the Flemish Twist and the endless loop. Endless loop is used by a lot of professional archers due to it having a very even consistency all the way through from end to end of the bowstring, which makes it very easy to draw back and have consistency in shots. Now with the Flemish Twist, however, it's much easier to store, it looks a lot better, and it shoots pretty much the same, so you get a lot of benefits without losing much. Only the really top-notch professional archers really actually care about the thickness of the bowstrings. I prefer them, they look better, they're more expensive to buy because they're harder to make, unless you have a bowstring jig. So anyways, let's get to it. The first thing you'll need is something to cut with. Something to mark with. Pins, pencils, whatever that might be. A hammer. Something to measure with, like a speed square, or some measuring tape. Something to hold the strings. I'm going to be using roofing nails. Roofing nails are nice and short, so they're harder to bend, plus they have a nice wide flat top, which makes it hard for the string to slide off. Another benefit of this is they're super cheap. I got probably 4 times as many as I needed, and it cost me $1.19. The next thing you will need is a piece of wood. Doesn't really matter how big it is, as long as it's at least 1.5 inches wide by 30 inches long. You want something pretty thick, that way the nail has something to stick into. If the nail is sticking out that much, that's a pretty long lever to bend this nail and pull it out of the wood. The thicker the wood, the better, because the more of it that can go in, the harder the nail will be to pull out, and the more sturdy and long-term your Flemish string jig is going to last. This is a piece of scrap wood I found in my yard. It is pretty thick, pretty decently thick, that way a nail will fit very well. It's more than 1.5 inches wide, and it is 30 inches long already. So the board I found already has a pretty aged character to it. It was just sitting in a tent, it was used for something, I don't know what, but it's been around for a while, so it's already got like a natural finish to it. I'm not going to sand or stain this. Also, you don't really need to, it's not a work of art. It's going to be getting used a lot, probably dropped around. So I wouldn't worry too much about trying to make this pretty, but if you want to sand it or stain it, this is the time to do so. The first step is to cut the board to 30 inches long. This would give you plenty of room to have plenty of nails, so you can pretty much make whatever length Flemish string you want. But having a board longer than 30 inches is just a bit cumbersome, and you don't really need that much, so 30 inches is a good length. The next step is to find the center of the board. I'm going to take my speed square, put it right here. It's about 5.5 inches long, so I'm going to go to 2.75 right here, slide it right down. Doesn't have to be perfect. So now that we have our center line marked, we're going to go to the end of the board, both ends. We're going to go 1 inch in on the line, and we're going to go 3/4 inch down. Does that make sense? So 1 inch in, 3/4 inches down on both ends. So now that we've gotten our first 2 dots done, these are going to be our starting point. The middle dot right here in the center, we want 9 more of those going all the way down. That way there'll be 10 in total. 10 dots in total. So this one is the starting point. We're going to go down 1/2 inch and make a dot. So that's 1 right there. So we're going to go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. That'll give us a guide. So now we can go up to the same point and dot on either side. That way we'll have 2 lines of 10 that are parallel. And there we are. we have 2 lines of 10. Do not draw on these lines. Do not connect the dots. You want the dots. These are going to mark where our nails are going to go. Now that we have one end done, let's get to the other side. This end is super easy. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our marker and we're going to go 3 inches in on this line. We're going to draw a dot. And every inch, we're going to put a dot. So there's 1, 2, so these are just a tad. 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Just like so. We're going to go all the way down until we have 16 dots in total. So this is when having a tape measure or a ruler might come in handy. My speed square isn't going to reach 16 inches down this board, but I'm already far enough. I can now use a ruler. Should be good to go. So I'm just going to line that up here. Boop, boop, boop. And off we go. So, something we can do to make our lives easier is we're going to make a ruler gauge. I guess that's what you call that. We're going to make a ruler right down here to help us measure our strings later on. That way we don't have to keep a ruler with us. We can just use the board as a ruler. So we're going to go to the 4th dot we've made. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We go down and just draw a mark right there. I'm going to do that all the way down. Doesn't have to be exact. This is just a general guide. I'll make all of them an inch long. That way it's consistent. Doesn't have to be pretty. Cool. There's that. And now, theoretically, this should be about 1 foot long. On the dot. It is 1 foot long on the dot. So that'll make a pretty good, decent gauge later on down the road. So, now that we have all of our dots marked and all of our lines, it's time to go in and fill in all the information that tells us what these things do. So, let's get to it. Starting at this dot, you're going to write a 48. So 48, and you're going to go up 2. So the next dot is 50. This 1 inch allows for a 2 inch gap. It increases the length of the string by 2 inches. So 1 inch, or excuse me, 48, 50, 52, 54, and so on. All the way down until 78. This will give you anywhere from a youth bow all the way down to the ye old long bows, the really, really big ones. So, now that we have all of our markings laid out, it's time to mark the ruler. So, 0, 1, 2, 3, you get the gist. Now for this end, it's pretty useful for us to mark how the string is going to behave at these points. So for example, we're starting here. This is where the string is going to start. So we'll just draw a dot, draw a line right down, draw an arrow, because that's the way the string's going to go. And then here, we're going to stop and we're going to make a corner. We're going to curve the string, just like so. And when we come back, we're going to stop here. We're going to curve around that string, or that knob. So, you get the gist. It's going to go this way, down, wrap around through here, go down, wrap around through here, go down, wrap around through here. As many number of strands as we need. Same thing right here. So, at this point, this is how we measure how long the string is going to be. If we want a 78-inch string, then we put our string wrapping around this post, going this direction. We're going to be wrapping around the string this way. We're going to go down, around our post knob, and around again. So, here. Boop. Boop. Perfect. So, we pretty much have everything marked. Now it's time to put the nails in, and we should be good to go. So, once you get done putting all of your nails in, you should end up with something a bit like this. At the end of the day, you will have a fully functioning, decent Flemish bowstring jig. Is it the nicest thing in the world? Nope. It's a lot better than it could be though. A few things you could change is add a little groove right through here. That way when you're cutting the bowstrings, you have a nice straight line already pre-cut. You can add some more bells and whistles like words explaining how to use it if you don't quite know how, or if you're giving it to someone who doesn't quite know how. But at the end of the day, this thing is about as good as it gets. It's about as good as you'll ever need. So friends, I hope you can put this bowstring jig to good use. I hope it works well for you. This is the second or third one I've made. I made this in about half an hour. It does not take long and they work really well. Flemish bowstrings are very cosmetic, they look good, they work even better, and they last forever. The first bowstring I ever made, the first Flemish bowstring I ever made, was my senior year of high school. I'm a senior in college now, so it's been almost 4 or 5 years, and I still have it and I still use it. It works great. This one's getting a bit worn out, it's getting kind of old, but it still works. Also, another benefit to using Flemish bowstrings rather than endless loop bowstrings is it's really easy to add in otter balls. That's what this is called. There's silencers, you can get different types, but this is actual otter fur that just wraps in between those layers, those little bundles of strings. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please give this video a thumbs up and a share if you're willing. It helps me out a ton. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Keep shooting.